Guys, we are back for an impromptu Q&A session, and we will do the satellite demo probably in about 20-30 minutes. So until then, well, the floor for pictures is yours, but also we have a microphone right here, so please come on up. You can ask any question you like, but ask it to a specific speaker that you want to answer that question first, and then if anyone else has a comment, we'll pass the microphones along. So this is the session for you. Anything you want to ask? There has to be some questions. All right, come on up. Let's get this microphone. No, maybe we can put that. Yeah, come on up, line up there on the side, and go for it.
AMA.
When moon, sir?
Soon moon. Well, the specific speaker. Soon moon. Okay, it was for Christian.
Okay, a very generic question.
Please select a speaker though, or a couple of speakers.
It's so generic, so...
Okay.
Anyone can spend.
Yeah, exactly. Where to buy Bitcoin, okay, in the most, in a private way. So, know your customer, AML, how to avoid these things.
Yeah,
it's a very broad topic, sorry.
Well, it depends on the quantity, but like when you know Bitcoiners are coming to your town, try to get dinner with them and buy it from them.
Also, before passing the mic to somebody else with other answers, I want to tell you that from a schedule agenda point of view, we wanted to have a BSQ demo as well. It was a little bit complex to fit it into the thematic division, so we decided to postpone it for next year. But I personally wanted so much to have people learning how to install and use BSQ. The former B Square. Of course, that's not super easy and super good for liquidity and price. So if you want his best price, that's not the choice. So somebody else has other suggestions. Well, I know that HODL exchange is centralized, but no KYC, so okay. Good for privacy.
So this thing you said about BISC?
BISQ with the final Q.
BISQ, it will be possible to see tomorrow with the...
Is anybody comfortable with? Yeah. Okay. Great. So we have one teacher for BSQ that can provide. Okay. So come and look for Richard, and he will try to teach you how to install.
Okay.
BSQ.
Good to know. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. You are fantastic.
Hello. Yes, maybe you might think that what I'm going to ask is going to sound like a joke, but it's not a joke. And, maybe we have in this room, it's going to be a joke to everybody in this room, but maybe we have people watching the live stream and they're new to all of this crypto and Bitcoin and everything. And I've seen time and time again that you introduce people to Bitcoin and crypto, and then they go and do whatever they do, and then they come back a week later and they say, I've decided that Ripple is the one that is the best because banks or whatever. And I would want maybe to address the audience of live stream, so maybe Slush and John, I'm sure will have very good soundbite. Can you explain to the people, the very smart people out there who have not been dived into this for 5-6 years, why Ripple is the ultimate shitcoin, please?
So who wants to be persecuted forever by a bunch of bots on Twitter?
I should probably mention you made a bad choice in your friends if they come to you and propose Ripple.
No, ex-friends.
That's on you.
So John wants a quiet life on Twitter, so no, and Slash as
Come on,
well.
John, get up here.
Let me see. I'm not a Ripple specialist. I don't pay too much attention anymore. I came around in the first couple of years I was here, and I remember when they were handing them out for free on Bitcoin Talk. And
when they were called Ripple Coin.
Yeah. All you had to do was make a post in their thread, and they would give you, 8,000 ripples or something for free. At the time, it was worth maybe 5 or 6 Bitcoin. I turned it into Bitcoin right away, and that was that. And it seems like that's still their model. They go around giving out millions of dollars of Ripple to make headlines. They go around making deals with banks and things like this. And then there's a pretty good website actually out there that goes into how their PR announcements are fake and how they actually don't even result in anything real. And this is pretty much all of blockchain and all of centralized shitcoins. So I can't tell you like a lot about what they're specifically doing today. I don't follow them anymore. I just dismissed it as garbage a long time ago. So maybe somebody else here can give a more relevant answer other than it's a shitcoin that's centralized and there's no reason to even compare it to Bitcoin.
I can correct your question. The ultimate new Bitcoin is actually Denta coin. So please, people looking at the live stream, no Ripple, only Denta coin.
So in the case of Ripple, I just sent them the video that I did like 2 years ago with Peter Todd as part of the Crypto Scam series. And I really wanted to make that series for every single like coin and project, and I realized that's actually impossible. But it was also just taking a lot of time. I really wish I kept up with Crypto Scam. It's just bad. And it happens. And you just got to tell people, look, you didn't listen to me in 2013, 2014, 2015 to buy Bitcoin. Why do you think you are, within weeks, you are smarter than me about this industry that I've spent 5 years in? And then just walk away.
I remember one other really important thing about why it's stupid. They don't actually use it in any of their products. Yeah. So you don't actually need it for anything. So that's good enough, right?
So I have another question. Can I ask another question? Yeah. Anybody ask? So we've seen like the waves come in 2017, big wave. But it seemed like in many ways this wave, and I don't know if it was what the cause was, but it was definitely correlated with the rise of all these ICOs and shitcoins and whatever. Now, when the next wave comes, what may catalyze it if not for continued scams and criminality and bullshit?
I have an answer.
The general point is that you have here a stage full of experts of technical stuff, and the question is a very relevant question, but it's completely related to marketing and zero related to technology, since there is no technology at all in this shit.
Oh no, that's wrong. No, I'm not talking about the wave. I'm talking about if there's an eventual decoupling and the Bitcoin price goes up, of course, because demand increases, and there's only 21 million Bitcoin, and there will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin, and over 85% of all the Bitcoin that will ever exist have already been found and mined. So what could cause this? Maybe a geopolitical event, or
what could cause the
Are you asking what could cause the pump, or what will happen to shitcoins during the pump?
No, what could cause Bitcoin to rise? Like Bitcoin rose, and one of the main reasons why I believe why Bitcoin rose so much in 2017 was from uninformed investor class getting onto Bitcoin so that they could buy all this garbage so that they could make 10,000% gains.
Yeah,
I don't think so. I don't think that was the reason.
I think the halving.
I don't think people were buying into Bitcoin to buy into the shitcoins. I think because people had Bitcoin and they were now kind of rich, it was a very low risk play.
Yeah, but why were they rich, man? Because
the price of Bitcoin is going up, and because they were getting rich, it became a low risk play to invest a little bit of that Bitcoin into lottery tickets of shitcoins, and some of them cashed out, some of them are still holding.
Well, why did the price of Bitcoin go up then?
What happened? What came first, the chicken or the egg? I don't know. I
Well,
don't
the
think
price of Bitcoin,
give you a definitive answer. The speculators made everything go up. Whatever came first doesn't really matter, but there was intense speculation.
I mean, there were plenty of reasons for Bitcoin to eventually go up. You want to say something? Yes, I'll give you Mike 1 second. So, I mean, the bear market of 2014 and 15 was pretty rough. And I think the Greek events, the Greek banking shutdown, had a lot to do with significantly helping reverse the market.
So I think a lot of people don't have a lot of time to imagine the future. They're busy with their everyday life, and it kind of takes a lot of imagination and foresight to think about a future where you may need Bitcoin. So it's kind of like we may have the luxury to imagine ourselves in a future where we actually might need it. So I think the demand for Bitcoin will start to come when people actually think about immediate near-term hunger, needing to preserve their wealth for real. So right now you got some people who are imagining it. It's kind of like having a life vest on the Titanic, right? So I mean, some people, they might be super paranoid. They may have researched the presence of icebergs there. They may have just made sure when they got on the Titanic that they did actually have a life vest in their room, just in case. But when the Titanic, starts to sink, people are gonna run to the life vests, and that's what Bitcoin is. Bitcoin is a life raft for a sinking ship. The ship is sinking, just people don't realize it yet. And once they start to feel the water rising to their knees, that's when they're going to start to actually, the everyday person who has other things to think about, who has a life, will actually start to buy Bitcoin.
Please. Live stream guys, if you can put My Heart Will Go On the.
Can I make a quick comment?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, I know this is a developers conference, but you got me a little excited given financial markets. And if we were talking about historicity, but you were also asking a question of what could make it happen to have another massive bull run in the future. And I honestly think that the biggest issue of this bear market is that the confusion in the ecosystem between, unfortunately, we understand the merits and values of Bitcoin in this conference right now, but that's not true for the rest of the mass public. And because of the barnacles of the other shit coins, it's as long as these barnacles are still on the beautiful ship of Bitcoin, it's going to continue to confuse the space with continued hacks, with continued issues. Absolutely, institutional money is not going to keep jumping in. For the most part, a lot of money is going to continue to leave. But what's going to happen, and I truly believe, is that the system will cleanse itself. Altcoins will go to zero, and when that happens, what do money managers think about? You shift from underperforming assets to assets that you should be putting your money into, and that will become Bitcoin. As was a brilliant asset to invest your money in before during the other bull markets. I think that what's going to happen, that time will come. Hopefully it comes a little bit sooner, but when consumer confidence, when again not just institutional investors, but when again investors in general, but people who have confidence that this is actually an asset that we should be, just from a speculators and again money management perspective, that it's the right asset to put your money into, to put your money to work, and then couple it with the great mission, vision, values that we have and we believe in this room of Bitcoin itself. I think you have a recipe for success.
Yeah, that was great.
So, if possible, do directly select a speaker. The guy asking the question about the mining panel.
Can we read those? You know what? Go ahead, and then we'll still grab those mining questions. I'm going to look for them in the chat group.
Okay, yeah, thank you. I also have a question for the mining panel, and the other one is for Francis. The first one is for the mining panel. Can you explain how the reward system for miners participating in a pool works in generally? But I think it would be interesting how it works. And the question to Francis is, any other could also answer, but you gave a good explanation about what spam is. Would it be possible to prioritize the transaction not only by fee instead of fee times when the transaction was transmitted or posted? So the time should be also included. So even it's a not an addition, a multiplication of this too.
Well, I mean, you can already do that. Miners can decide whichever transactions they include. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with using fees as the ordering. I think it's the most neutral, the most ungameable feature. And if you know, you have, there's no problem, I think, with the existence of fees and using that. I think it takes a long time for the market to come into equilibrium. We're looking at the fee situation with a kind of a short time frame in the history of Bitcoin. I think these things will stabilize and become very efficient over time. So I don't really have an answer for that. I think a lot of people are already, you know, miners are making deals with exchanges. They're free to do whatever they want. It's a competitive system, and ultimately it's going to converge towards whatever was meant to be over time. We just got to be patient. But this will be discovered about what the right equilibrium is for the miners' preferences and for the nodes' preferences over time. So, yeah, I don't have an answer. I think we're just going to have to wait and observe it and see what emerges.
Okay, thank you.
There was an...
I probably didn't understand the first part of the question about rewards. If you can rephrase it somehow, we will definitely answer.
Yeah, so if a miner want to participate in your pool, you send out the work, I think, and the miners somehow get any kind of reward from you by shares or something like that. I don't know exactly how it works. This is why I'm asking.
Yeah, what the pools are doing is they're splitting the space where you're trying to find a new block. And the pool calculates how much work every single miner does and rewards them accordingly. There are a few different algorithms how you can distribute the found block, split it in between the miners. But in general, you are trying to find a reasonable algorithm which would be fair for everybody, and you're counting every single hash what the miner submits to the pool. So there is some terminology around, but it's about distributing unique work to every single connection to the pool and rewarding the results, giving back. And this is the main principle of the pool mining, that you can be paid for every single work you provide to the pool, even if you don't find a block, because everybody can find a block, and then the pool distributes the block reward in between all the participants.
Technically, it's no different as if you were mining solo. So if you take the total hash rate of the whole Bitcoin network, and you would be as a small single miner, you would be proportionally mining exactly the same thing as with the pool. But the only difference is that since your share compared to the total network hash rate is very small, you would have a lot of variance, because the minimum amount that you can mine is the whole block, which is 12.5 plus the fees. So, and if you think about the Bitcoin network as of the pool itself, it works exactly the same way. You just get the proportion of the total amount that the pool mines.
And just to quickly add, I would just say that people value their time differently, right? So some people value their time more, some people value money more. And the fact that miners are services providers in a competitive market lets people, you know, the users of Bitcoin, they can choose whether they value time or fees more. So it's not up to anyone to kind of decide that. And, you know, an analogy for how pool mining works that I often use, I think a lot of people use, is just buying lottery tickets. You know, a lot of colleagues will buy for the Powerball or whatever, because you know you have 100 times more chance to win the Powerball if you have 100 tickets. But, you know, so technically speaking, you'll, on an infinite timeline, you'll get the same amount of money, but you're really going for that one big thing. Yeah, you know, very, very, very long timeline.
All right, we got one more audience question, and then I'll read the 2 mining questions that we got in the chat.
Okay, thank you. Hi, my name is Anita Porsche, and I'm doing Bitcoin education for the general public. So I'm doing an English podcast and a German book and stuff. And so my question is about the Lightning Network from an end user perspective. I mean, I made a podcast with René Pickard, and he told me that you have to be reckless if you use Lightning now at the moment. So what do you say is the time perspective? When can the end user use Lightning? And the second question would be, when will wallets be able to use Bitcoin and Lightning at the same time? And do I then also have to manually open channels and close them? Or is it going to be easier?
Okay, so the first one was how reckless is reckless enough to use Lightning? Yeah. Very. No, so the hashtag reckless was basically introduced when we launched the Blockstream store back a year ago, and we wanted to discourage people from jumping right onto the bandwagon and just putting their life savings onto Lightning and potentially losing them, because this is new software. We still have to figure out some kinks that we want to resolve them, and so this was basically for our own protection, so that we wouldn't have this influx of new users that would flood us with questions that we couldn't reply to, and they would basically walk away being frustrated by Lightning being such a miserable experience. As for timing, there will not be a Lightning release as such. There will not be a, hey, you can onboard your mom and now it's safe, or your dad. What we currently do is we try to make it incrementally easier for people to use Lightning, so that we can incrementally onboard people and sort of also create this community that can catch people that might have a question, and sort of educate people among themselves without having to resort to contacting those 15 developers that are actually actively working on Lightning. So this is going to be a gradual process that will improve over time, and the more feedback we get from techie people, the more quickly we can open this to non-techie people, right? The second question was about wallets.
Wallets, yeah.
So we are actually looking into integrating Lightning wallets with Bitcoin wallets. Most of them actually are, because... Sorry? Yes, so most wallets actually handle both on-chain transactions and off-chain transactions, simply because, well, to create a channel you have to handle on-chain transactions as well. So all of the wallets actually handle their own funds internally. We just don't expose the on-chain functionality as publicly as we do the off-chain stuff, because, well, we're not very sophisticated on-chain wallets, so we don't have coin joins, or we don't have intelligent UTXO selection and all of that fun stuff. And the third part was about usability and channels, right?
Yeah.
Yes, so we try to automate as much as possible of that, so that you will not have to learn about all of the technical details that are behind it. Especially, I don't want to have to explain to my brother and my parents and my grandparents what a channel is before they can use it. So this should be layered away into levels of abstraction. You don't need to know SMTP to send an email, and the experience should be the same as using an on-chain wallet, or even just using whatever payment service you are using now. We will automate as much as possible. We try to figure out good defaults such that you do not have to look under the covers and find the mess that we, well, try to hide from you.
Thank
I
you.
have a totally different answer.
All right, try to make it quick. We want to go through a couple more questions.
Yeah, I'll make it quick. When can you use Lightning Network? When it will be ready? Now. When can you find wallets to have both Bitcoin and you can get people to use Lightning Network? Now. They already exist. There is our Bitcoin Lightning wallet supports having Bitcoin and Lightning channels in them. How do you close channels? You can manually close them, or you can not. Or you can wait till they incidentally close for other reasons. But the one comment I do want to make about what you're saying, he's right. There is risk here, but okay, we aren't monkeys, okay? We taught people how to use new technology for a long time since the internet came out, since software became massively used everywhere, the internet, email, all these things, web browsers. So we don't need to be treating these people, but treating the world like they're children. It's not like you're creating an offense to teach your sister or your mom or your cousin about what a channel is, about how Lightning is a little bit different than Bitcoin. It can be done. Don't be scared. You can use it now. There are already limits in place that prevent you from losing too much money. But encourage your own education and the education of others. Don't say it's too soon. Be scared. It's not ready. You know, I don't think that's necessary. I think what you want is to constantly educate. Bitcoin and Lightning will constantly evolve. It's never really going to stop.
All right, awesome. All right, we have I have a couple of mining questions. We'll try to answer them really, really quickly. I'll read them from the live chat, and I know you already answered them in the live chat. What prevents miners to let low-fee transactions in the mempool and not mining them to increase the fee of the future transactions? With this mechanism, they could steadily increase the fee unless less transactions were spent. At this point, equilibrium is there. They would maximize profits without weakening Bitcoin. I'll let you guys answer, but my quick answer is economics. Like, how do you get every single miner to have the same, like they can't, a lot of them don't like each other, even though they do cooperate. But go ahead, let the miners answer.
It was my answer. It's difficult to get everybody attacking the Bitcoin network at the same time, the same way. And if we do that, miners are still, they would like the Bitcoins to be priced as high as possible. So if you collectively attack the whole network by not mining the transactions, the reaction in the society and media would be massive. And the price would probably accept it immediately, and it would go down, and it would cause miners bigger losses than what can get by higher fees.
And the next question is probably has a similar answer. Why miners don't spam the network with low-fee transactions to increase the fee of other miners? If a miner has 1/3 of the hashing power, to do this, he gets the fees. Right, so the answer is sure. I think we all suspected that Bitmain was probably involved in doing something like this, and where are they now? Basically, the miner that is doing something like that is not in this space for the right reasons, and they will either destroy themselves or destroy the space, and they will, you know, be eliminated from the system because they probably shouldn't have been there to begin with. That's
also,
my answer.
A very quick comment about that. So for a miner, including transactions with, spending transaction with fees and including the same transaction is not zero cost. There is an opportunity cost of all the other transaction with other people's money you are not including. So you don't have to think of the miners as people that can just spend transaction with fees and these fees are zero cost. It's not linear, but there is an opportunity cost into spamming yourself. So it's an advantage to be a miner, but not an infinite advantage.
And yeah, just one other, you know what, no, I'll let it go, it's okay. We have one more last question. This is for Bitcoin Aerolog, James Hilliard, Slush, and Lawrence. What development projects or ideas excite you the most in Bitcoin? Really quick.
Personally, I'm probably a little bit biased since I'm an embedded systems developer, but I like building actual embedded hardware. So for instance, right now I'm working on Bitcoin ATM software. Yeah, I've also done played around with building custom miner firmware for some of the Bitmain miners myself as well. Yeah, and security research and all that, which I found a few, me and a number of others have found vulnerabilities in various miners like Antminer S9s, Antminer S15s, and that sort of thing.
I don't have a surprise answer. It's obviously the Lightning Network and any project related to it. You know, the advancements in routing, the advancements in capacity, reallocation, etc. Anything and everything in Lightning is currently has all my attention, and I'm trying to learn everything about it and participate in putting into use for everyday people.
I'm excited with recent improvements in privacy on Bitcoin and Lightning. Both is related to wallets, and of course I'm interested in this because of the Trezor. So I'm looking forward to this improvement.